Today's This or That segment has been brought to you by ThrowbackBuys.com, your one-stop shop for all things nostalgic. Whether you're looking for kooky sweaters, the Malibu Barbie Dreamhouse, or even a Super Nintendo for game night, Throwback Buys is the site for you. Use our code NJPOD for 15% off your order. Details will be linked in the description below. Today on our This or That's, we are going to be doing the showdown of just 80s villains.
Mm-hmm.
So our iconic 80s cartoon villains.
Okay.
I'm so excited about this.
I know you love villains.
I'm looking at them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So let's just dive right on in.
Right.
Our first one, Megatron versus Cobra Commander.
Ooh. You know, they're actually very similar, even though one is a robot and one is just because I feel like he was more diabolical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Cobra.
You feel like Cobra Commander was more
Yeah.
diabolical than Megatron?
Yeah, I feel he was. Megatron, okay, yes, the Allspark want to destroy this, that, take over.
Dude, he was
But
ready to blow up the world.
But Cobra, man, the stuff that he did in the cartoons, man, to some of the Joes is...
Okay, so
You're not a Joe guy. You weren't around for the Joe. You are a Transformer guy.
yes.
Blah, 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 yakety,
I don't know what gives away that I'm a Transformers guy. The giant case
Yeah.
of G1s
And the totes.
and the-
you...
yeah. So we're getting so Cruz and I will actually be vending at a
Yes.
show here in Connecticut out
Correct.
in I think Montville,
Montville, yeah.
Montville, Connecticut,
December 7th.
and I am bringing like 27
Hundreds.
gallons of totes.
Hundreds of Transformers.
It's hundreds of Transformers.
Yeah.
And they're all very low priced.
Yeah.
I think the most expensive one is like $15 that I'll be
Yeah.
bringing. So come in, grab one. I just want them gone. I want them gone. I want them gone. My wife wants them gone.
Yeah. Correct.
But dude, no, Megatron.
Okay.
I feel like Megatron is a better villain.
Okay.
I don't. So my issue with Cobra Commander, he was an idiot. Cobra Commander was an idiot.
Yeah, but so was Skeletor.
But we're not talking about Skeletor.
I know.
We're talking about Megatron versus Cobra Commander. Listen, if we wanted to rank 80s villains, we can do that on another episode, which I am definitely down for. But
So Megatron.
it's Megatron. Megatron, I think his voice was more menacing. I think that he as a person was just more, I think he was more diabolical. The fact that I think Cobra Commander was more willing to stab someone in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the G.I. Joe movie, and you didn't like it? You
No,
never saw
which
it.
doesn't do your knowledge of Joe's.
It doesn't do my knowledge justice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, that this is my knowledge of Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
And Robot Chicken. So this is my knowledge of Cobra Commander.
Correct, which
We're
is
like,
horrible.
There's really not a time where they paint Megatron as being an imbecile.
joke.
If anything, it's him getting undermined by Starscream and Starscream messing up his plans.
Correct.
But it's never Megatron doing something foolish.
Correct.
It's always the people under him, which is why Megatron to me is a far superior villain.
Okay.
So our next one, Skeletor
Okay.
versus Mumra.
Monroe.
Agreed. I think
that's easy. Skeletor, for the same reasons that you're saying, Cobra. He was just, they goofed him up too many times.
I think that's what's made him iconic, though.
Yeah.
So if we were to go based off who's more iconic, it would be Skeletor.
Skeletor, 100%.
But if we're talking who is the better 80s villain, it's Mumra. Mumra was just in the intro for Thundercats,
Mhm.
when you see him in like
Evil.
the decrepit mummy stage,
Yeah.
and then he just
Mhm.
becomes this giant mammoth of a being.
Yeah.
Mumra is by far, he's a phenomenal villain.
Yeah. He's scary.
I'm trying to think back through episodes, and again, I think just like Megatron, there's really not
a weak
point
point ever.
Yeah, it's not him being foolish and making mistakes.
Yeah.
Again, it's his underlings. Like
Yeah.
it's Slythe and
He's a-
Monkey.
He's a badass all the way through.
Oh yeah, and it's either him getting messed up by his underlings, or it's just the Thundercats finding a way to beat
correct.
him. It's never him making the mistake,
Correct.
and that's one of the reasons why I think Megatron and Mumra are two of the best villains
Yeah.
in general. They're good villains.
Yeah.
They're smart, strong, evil.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna ask me who I like more, it's Skeletor.
Right.
I think Skeletor had a far better design. He's much more iconic, and his voice is more iconic.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, He-Man. And just the lines that it came up with, like
Yeah.
him talking, get away from me, you voracious flea bag. Like
That
it's
show has some great goofiness in it.
it's so it's amazing. I love it. We started collecting a lot of Motu way back when we first started collecting a lot of vintage toys. We've fallen away from it, but I think it's also like my love for skeletons. Like the one collection that has continued to grow within the Motu is Skeletor. Like,
yeah.
and when I see a cool Skeletor, I gotta pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Have you seen the new Filmation
Toy line?
Motu toy line?
Yes. Pretty awesome.
It looks great. I will say I saw the Skeletor yesterday.
He's goofy.
Not in the right way.
No, I know.
It's he need honestly. I kind of want to if I can get one on clearance, I'll try this.
Yep.
But like the lines in his face,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't do any of like the black lines,
Correct.
so it's just a one tone face.
Yeah.
It has the right expression, but there's no dynamic marking.
Correct.
So it looks like they casted plastic.
But the colors.
The colors are perfect. The colors are there.
Yeah.
I do like that it is a unique face. Like
Yeah.
it's an actual like Filmation Skeletor face.
Correct.
I just wish they did the details on the face opposed to just casting that like ivory plastic.
Yeah.
Our next this or that, Dr. Claw versus Gargamel.
Man.
Both of them very similar.
Yeah.
Both of them have a little cat sidekick.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm gonna go Dr. Claw.
I agree.
There's a little mystery there.
I love Dr. Claw. Like that mystery of not showing his face.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And we just this summer we found the Dr. Claw toy at IC Toys in Nashville.
Oh, you did?
And the way that they made the card back,
Mhm.
it blocks his face.
Oh, really?
So in order to figure out who Dr. Claw is,
Yeah.
you have to buy the toy.
Oh man.
And if this wasn't $180 card, I would have bought it. Because I'm very curious. If it was like a $20 vintage toy, I totally would have picked it up and ripped it open, not would have cared. A part of my heart would have died, but I would not would have cared.
Yeah.
But for $180, like I'm not destroying history. But it's Dr. Claw. The mystery was there, and also the voice.
Yeah, it was darker.
So Frank Welker, who was prominent voice actor, did the voice of Dr. Claw and Megatron. It's that I'll get you next time, Gadget. Like that voice is just so menacing.
Yeah, it is.
And it's by far probably one of my favorite cartoon voices is Dr. Claw.
Yeah. Underrated cartoon too. No one talks about it that much.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Inspector Gadget cartoon.
Really?
Yeah, it's I love the theme song. The theme song. I find myself getting bored watching it.
Okay.
I find it to be redundant.
All TV shows during that time were redundant.
Oh, listen, I know my irony. I know my catch-22 in that state.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, I was a 90s kid.
Yeah.
Inspector
80s.
Gadget cartoon was an 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
And when your exposure to 80s cartoons after they've been developed
it's tough.
Transformers, Ninja Turtles, Inspector Gadget.
It's tough.
Inspector
and everything
Gadget's
that came out in the 90s was so far ahead.
They learned from the mistakes of the 80s cartoons.
Right.
So I actually have a bonus one for us.
Ooh.
I know. So instead of going with two villains from different cartoons,
all right,
I went with two villains from the same cartoon.
Interesting.
Shredder or Krang?
Oh man.
Again, also two iconic voices.
Yeah. It's gonna sound dumb, but Shredder for me.
I figured you would go Shredder.
Yeah.
I mean it's voiced by James Avery.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil from
Yeah. From
Fresh Prince of Bel
Fresh
Air.
Prince.
But I have to go with Krang. I think when you think about a more menacing villain,
Only because he was from space, man.
and
Come on.
well, think about this: like he's from space. He looks like chewed up bubble gum.
Yeah.
And he's proverbially
He's
bitch slapping Shredder around
yeah. Yeah.
Like-
but only because he has
the technology.
yeah.
but
But
that's what makes him
for
menacing.
me,
the technology.
for me, more menacing because Shredder up close, claws reminds me of Freddy.
Okay.
You know, it's just one of those closer. He has to actually
Get you.
yes,
No,
which
I will
makes
say-
you like someone shooting someone is easy, but stabbing someone using it's
You speak from experience here. Like
no. I
you're
just
also getting
feel-
really close to my face with that.
I just feel like the action of having to actually physically do something.
I would agree with that. I mean, if
But
we're going-
yeah, menacing. He's got the technology. You can't
Yeah.
beat it.
So again, like I think they're both great. Like
Yeah.
there really is they're both winners.
Pretty.
That's why they're the bonus.
pretty good. That was a pretty good one, having two villains from the same show.
Yeah. So you're a Shredder guy. I'm a Krang guy. Especially when you get the big android. It is
Yeah,
so freaking cool.
it is. It is.
But yeah, so let's see. So you went Cobra, I went Megatron.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
both said
both-
Skeletor. Oh, we both said Mumra.
Yep.
We both said Dr. Claw.
Yeah.
And then
And-
you're a Shredder, I'm a Krang.
Yeah.
And then I do apologize to our listeners and those of you on Instagram.
Sorry.
We will put our this or that segments in the polls on Instagram next time. We just forgot. It's
Yeah.
been very busy. I've been getting ready for a baby in January, and my brain is basically
Right.
just seeping out of my ears. But we will get our polls that way we can get our listener feedback as well.